Good evening. Welcome to another evening of Dr. Cliff Burton, featuring the absolute very best in all of women's sport, HBCU athletics, and so much more. And welcome to this great Black History Month. And we're going to give 10 seconds of silence. We're going to get started. We have so much to talk about. Okay, during this Black History Month, we couldn't start off the night without talking about we lost a tremendous civil rights icon uh, at 84 years young, died complications of some neurological diseases. Then the Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr., who's done so much for our people, passed this morning and at 84 years young, born in Greenville, South Carolina, and attended ultimately North Carolina A&T, one of our HBCUs, graduated from there. He would go on to be a leader in civil rights. He marched with Dr. King, was on the balcony the night Dr. King was killed. He went on to start Operation Push, turned into Operation Rainbow Coalition. Uh, in 1984, he would go on to become the first male to run for the Democratic nominee, finished third, and would run again in 1988. And he pushed on the door so much that within 20 years after he ran in 88, we had a black man as the president, President Barack Obama. So Reverend Jesse Jackson, a dynamic speaker, orator, preacher, civil rights icon. Jeff, give us your thoughts. Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr.
Good evening, folks. Yeah, man, he was it. You know, when you look at his accolades, the list is long, Clip, as you were reading. You touched on it, but it's long, man. He dedicated his heart and soul to equal rights, equal justice. One thing that impressed me very much is, he was going over and bringing hostages home from abroad without the help of the government.
Sure did.
That needs
Yeah.
to be that needs to be known, man. Unfortunately, Parkinson's disease later on in life had, gave him complications. But even when he was diagnosed with it, he refused to slow down. He said, "Listen, I'm gonna keep my foot on the gas pedal, man. This is a great, and like you said, an icon that we have." And so, I really appreciate everything he's done for us. This is a man that, he wasn't behind Dr. King. He was side by side.
And we're going to give him 2 weeks. So our listeners who may hear this, one night is not enough. So we're going to touch on it tonight. I'm going to bring Steve in. We all have some of Jesse Jackson's sayings, but from the Music City, Steve, Reverend Jesse Jackson, your thoughts.
When I first heard the news today, one of the first things that came to mind is what a treasure we lost. And then one of the second things that came to my mind was the speech at the convention in 84. Oh, man, I was crying like a whole bunch of other people. I was crying. He not only gave us hope as black men and women, but he was for everybody.
Yes.
And like Jeff said, they were talking about the two times that he went over in other countries and freed hostages without the help of our government. I mean, he was for everybody, and he was like that all the way up until the end. And Don Lemon was talking this morning because he talked to Jesse Jr., and it so happened to be it was Jesse Jr.'s night to stay with his mom and dad. And he said he was going to check on his dad, and he wasn't breathing. And so he woke his mom, and she thought he was out. She said, "No, I think we've lost him." So he died, I'm assuming peacefully. God knows what he's doing. He transitioned. He's gone on to the next stage.
Absolutely. And Steve, you're right. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to come to check before. Jim couldn't be here tonight, but we also always give the best wishes out to a colleague who couldn't be with us tonight. But he's your homeboy, Dr. Kemp, or at least he's set up there in Chicago. Tell us what Jesse Jackson means to Chicago, to the United States, and to the world. And Dr. Kemp.
Thank you, Dr. Burt. Good evening, everyone. Happy Black History Month. And definitely, as my colleagues have mentioned on this platform, the Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson was definitely a phenomenal person. He was about the people, he was for everyone, and not just our people, but he definitely let them know that we have a stake in the game here always. He was just a phenomenal person in Chicago. He will always be remembered. I remember just being home recently. Everyone that, in terms of everyone, I mean the Black leaders that was actually there. Remember Cornel West had recently visited Chicago as well as Spike Lee, and the first thing that they would say is, "I just left from visiting, Reverend Jackson, check in on him to see how he's doing." And he never forgot his purpose. He was born for a purpose. He
Amen.
never forgot what it was about, and he was for everyone. And what they kept showing today when he was saying that, America is made up of so many different people, not just
Mhm.
black and white, red, yellow, brown. He went through the whole rainbow, a coalition in which he founded. So he will definitely be someone who we will always remember, definitely with his sayings, as he definitely would always give us hope, and to have us remember, definitely keep hope alive. And it really didn't dawn on me how much he paved the way until I was looking at the parallel today between himself and former President Barack Obama.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Reverend Jackson, he's definitely a legend and will definitely be remembered.
Yes, he will.
Well said, Marlo.
Yeah, and Charlton, he was his mentor, that was Reverend Al, and he talked and will talk extensively about him, I'm sure, this weekend. Jackson Kemp, and he did have some sayings, and I am somebody at
Yes,
a
sir.
time
Mhm.
when we as African Americans, uh, at least didn't want to be, or they didn't want to recognize us in America back in the
Mhm,
60s and 70s, and so it kind of, I am somebody went along with James Brown being loud, I'm black and I'm proud. So Jesse
mhm,
brought it. And then he had a saying, I heard him say it one time, several times, and it stuck with me. He said, he was born poor in Greenville, South Carolina. And he always says, I was born in the slum, but the slum wasn't born in me. And that
mhm,
stayed with me.
I
And
remember
that,
that.
yeah, no matter your circumstances, you may be born into poverty, you may be born into Section 8, but you don't have to let the Section 8 and the poverty be raised up in you. Jesse Jackson, there's so many of them, so many of them, so many of them.
mm,
I've got a story, but I'm not going to tell it. That another one of your homeboys told me, Marlo Jeremiah Wright, and it is hilarious. And it involves Jesse. Jesse has two brothers. A lot of people don't know
Uh,
that, but he's got two brothers. I'm not going to tell the story, but it is hilarious.
let's do this, Steve. We're going to talk about it 2 weeks in a row. Save it right there. Make sure you bring it next week. We're going to give you plenty of time on this segment, okay?
Cool.
Yeah, we got this guy's something else, okay? Let's move on to the story. He said, journalism in the investigation on the Nancy Guthrie case, day 17. What's going on, Jeff?
Oh, yes, this is very interesting. So there are a lot of bullet points right now that have come up. So the sheriff had to make a statement in reference to the Guthrie family. Apparently, online, there have been some side comments. There's some online detectives, and they made comments in reference to the possibility of, the Guthrie family being involved. And so the sheriff had to clarify that this weekend and made sure that he made the announcement that the Guthrie family has absolutely nothing to do with it. That's the first thing. But also, there was something that kind of touched me in a little way. So I believe it was one of the sons. I believe it was. I might have that wrong, but he was the last person to drop her off, bring her home. He was the last person to see her, mother Nancy. And so they asked some questions in reference to him. Obviously, they found nothing that would tie him to it as yet, but the eyes are always open. And so the investigation carries on. Now, there's some other things in reference to the clothing. And so there have been many gloves that have been found in the area, roughly about 15, 16 gloves. One of the particular gloves was found about 2 miles away. And so they ran a DNA check on that, but it didn't match anything in the FBI database. But however, they are still trying to determine and see if they can get a match for the DNA that was found inside the home. So we'll still have to wait on that. But the clothing right now is the most important part to me. And so they've determined where the backpack and the jacket that he had on was purchased at Walmart. Very interesting. And also the glove, they're trying to determine if it was at Walmart as well. And so what that does is they do a background check on all of the purchases at particular Walmarts in the area, Cliff. And that is very important because what they can do is check the receipts. The receipts all have the stamp time on them. They verify the time and verify who came to that register at that particular time in the store and the vehicles that drove up to the store. So that's extremely important.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. I want to talk about, well, what is it about the mask, the eyes, the physique? I know they stopped or arrested a few people one a week ago, let them go. And then a couple of people there saying have given false statements that they should send the rest of the money to them. What's going on with that part of the case?
Well, okay, so you mentioned two different things. And so
Yeah.
there, first of all, with the identification of the mask and or the facial features that show in the little parts of the mask that aren't covered up, like eyes, sometimes the mouth. In the mouth area, you can see that there's a mustache. Hopefully, when they put those pictures up, they're hoping that someone who can identify these people absolutely recognize those features that are being shown. Eyes cannot lie. Eyes cannot lie unless you might put some contacts or something on. That's one thing. But you can pick somebody who knows those eyes can pick out those eyes if that's all they're looking at. So that's very important. Now, the other part is in reference to there's always going to be some creeps out there that they see a money grab, they see a money opportunity.
Yeah.
That's just a
Yeah.
fact of life. And so what they try to do real quick in the desperation of the family is try to catch the family off guard. I think Savannah Guthrie is very smart and she's working closely with the FBI and the authorities. I think that she's very methodical about her speeches that she says online. I think they go over these things very, very much because it actually can notify somebody who understands what she's saying. And maybe or maybe not, the perpetrators involved might think she's saying one thing and may react to it. But I think she's doing the right thing. So you never know, Cliff. You never know. But there are a lot of creeps online that try to get a money grab. They see an opportunity.
Sounds good. Let me talk about one thing. We'll go to break, and we're going to get them on. I thank you so much on that segment there, Jeff. We want to stick with our brothers in Canada. Pray for them. There was a recent shooting at a Canadian school, high school, that left 8 dead last week. We're going to talk about that some more next week, and we just want to keep our brothers and sisters in Canada in mind. And then one more thing, we're going to give a handout right now. The Winter Olympics is going on, and the women's hockey team is undefeated and in the run to play for the gold. And the first African American woman, Willa Edwards, is to be congratulated for linking that hockey team. She's the first ever. Yeah. So yeah, give us about a minute on that. Then we're gonna go and break. Layla Evans breaking through in hockey.
Oh, yeah. This young lady, she was born January 25th, 2004. Is an American college ice hockey player from the University of Wisconsin. She is a member of the U.S. women's national hockey team. She has won not one, but two world championship medals, including gold at the 2025 World Championships and silver at the 2024 World Championships, where she was actually named the tournament MVP at the young age of 20. She became the first youngest player to receive the honors. She made history in 2023 as the first Black woman to play for the U.S. women's senior national team. She is also the first Black woman to score a goal for Team USA at the 2024 World Championships and at the 2026 Winter Olympics. We are so excited to have her on this team. We cannot wait for them to win gold. I think it's this coming Thursday, and we look forward to see what they will do. We're not going to jump on the bandwagon just yet. We don't want we
Yeah.
want them to
All
win. We
right.
don't want it to have to carry us all. We
All
are
righty.
rooting for them.
Thanks so much. The commercial will be right back. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Dr. Clifford and friends featuring the absolute very best in all women's sport, HBCU athletics, and so much more. Welcome to our listeners from Detroit, GPR 107.5 FM HD2. Now, if you're in the Philadelphia area and you have problems with back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, you can call Premier Pain and Rehab Center, telephone number 215-93, Blessed Abraham, or of course yours truly, Dr. Clifton Burt, 10184 Very Road, Philadelphia, PA, or you can get a front desk at premierpainpa.com. He's been considered the greatest basketball player of all time, and he is our celebrity birthday of the month. Steve, who you have for us?
Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Hello.
Born today, February 17th, 1963. Known by his initials as MJ. You know, you could go on and on about him. Is an American businessman, professional basketball player who is a minority owner of the Charlotte Hornets. But not anymore, I don't think. But this was
Right.
played 15 seasons in the NBA between 1984 in 2003. But let me skip because I want to read that. I want to get to some of his accolades right quick. Where he was a college national champion, in 1982, the game-winning shot, and Freddie Bryant came through the ball. But anyway, 6-time NBA champion, 6-time NBA Finals MVP, 5-time most valuable player. He probably should have got about 7 or 8. 14-time NBA All-Star, 3-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, 10-time All-NBA First Team, All-NBA Second Team in 1985, NBA Defensive Player of the Year in 88, 9-time NBA All-Defensive First Team, NBA Rookie of the Year in 85, NBA All-Rookie First Team in 85, 10-time NBA scoring champion, 3-time NBA steals leader, 2-time NBA dunk contest champion. He had his jersey retired by the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat. I don't know why the Miami Heat, but it says Miami Heat. 3-time AP Athlete of the Year, Sports Illustrated Spokesperson of the Year, NBA All Anniversary Team. I mean, this man has done it all. He ended his career with 32,292 points for a career 30.1 average, which is unheard of. Rebounds 6,672, assists 5,633. Of course, he was inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame. He is his estimated worth
Yeah.
is $3.8 billion.
Yes, it is.
In fact, he's a very rich man. But he has done it all. He was considered second to Babe Ruth on the Athletes of the Century. He came into the league and he just took it by storm. He's regarded by many to be the greatest to ever play. Now, not by me. I've got him fourth on my list. I know people think I'm crazy. I've got him fourth. I got LeBron, Kareem, Kobe, and Jordan.
And the background there, Steve. You got somebody in the background there.
Say what now?
You got somebody in the background there giving their opinion.
Yeah, and you know what? And the person giving the opinion is here on a humble. My wife and I didn't ask for a dog. We got 2 dogs running around our house.
All right.
You know, can't make us shut up.
Yeah, Steve, let's bring Jeff in on this. And
Yes, sir.
Jeff, Michael,
Yes, sir.
where do you put him?
Come on now. I told you I put him number one. I put him number one. Point blank and simple. Number one. This era, that era, you name the era, I'll take it.
See, I put Kobe over him.
I'll forgive you.
I'm with Jeff. We forgive you, Steve.
I knew you were gonna do that, Mom.
You already know.
Yeah, thank you, Doc.
As many championships that he's brought to our city. Oh, come on. I didn't realize that he was actually born in Brooklyn, New York. I always thought he was from North Carolina.
That was the camp. I'm gonna tell you one thing though. He don't have the best birthday with 217. My brother Clifton Burt has the best birthday on 217. I gonna tell you, go happy birthday.
I remember Michael when he was playing in North Carolina, and he's the first. When I saw him play, it really inspired me because I knew I had to study because I didn't have a chance in the NBA. I watched that, trying to become a professional academically, but no, really. One thing that is not arguable is that he set the standard that Kobe, LeBron, and others chased. Some coaching, some categories for sure, and some surpassed. Whether longevity, there have been NBA players, and Steve and I have talked several times, and that have said that Kobe Bryant was more skillful than Michael Jordan. In some ways, they have a point, but he is the standard that took it for everybody else to be measured by. I don't think we can argue about that. As well as taking the game's popularity, be like Mike, and all the rest of that. You know, he didn't have fear during his era. Like Magic and Bird, it was because both of them and then both of their teams had Hall of Famers on it. So those two teams made the 80s. But Michael didn't have a peer and took it so much higher in the 90s. And he is the standard by which the other greats were measured and reached for. So, hey,
And you know what, Cliff?
yeah,
I
yeah.
always say that Kobe's better. And I tell people, if you think Jordan is better, tell me why.
The
Yeah.
defensive end.
Tell me why.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Look, we'll get into that because that's a whole show.
Because Kobe had the same thing.
Yeah, that's a whole show. We just wanted to recognize his birthday this month. We got a little more show to go. But he's a standard. He set the standard that others shot for.
And I tell you what,
Let's-
if you had to guard him, the key was don't make direct eye contact with him.
All righty. There we go. All righty. Thank you so much, the Olympian, and she has set the standard that only 5 others have achieved. Miss Lauren Hill. She's a bobsledder, but also she's a sprinter. She's participated in both the Winter and Summer Olympics. She is our Woman of the Month, and even though the Olympics are not as popular as basketball, she's somebody who's got to be considered one of the greats as well. And then I want to go into a little bit of our Mrs. Gladys West, Dr. Gladys West, excuse me, GPS. Let's talk about her career. In 1956, she was hired to work at the Naval Proving Ground in Dahlgren, Virginia, later the Naval Surface Warfare Center. She was the second Black woman hired and one of only 4 Black employees. She was a computer programmer in the Dahlgren Division and project manager for processing systems for satellite data analysis. Concurrently, West earned a master's degree in public administration from the University of Oklahoma. And then she went on in the 60s to participate in an award-winning study that proved the regularity of Pluto's motion relative to Neptune. Subsequently, Dr. West began to analyze satellite automata data from NASA's geodesic Earth orbiting program to create models of the Earth shape. She became project manager for the short-lived CSAT radar altimetry project, the first satellite that could remotely sense oceans. West worked on her team's processing time in half, and she was recommended for a commendation in 1979. There is not much. There's so much more. That's small. That's a go too now. That's
Awesome.
that's a good. Miss GPS, all right. Now, I just want to talk a little bit more about our we're doing a year in remembrance. So many people we lost in 25. One more time for this gentleman. He was also a member of the armed forces. People don't know that. But they started in 1965, a group called the Whispers, and of course, those twins, and Wally Scott. We lost Walter last year to a battle with cancer. And just legendary, one of the greatest singers of all time, along with his brother. That group faced adversity, but they've been doing this since 1963. People don't know this, Steve, Janice Marlowe. Their group was founded by Sly and the family.
Wow.
First one to invite them right out of
Did not know that.
and the beat goes on. That's what I say, but they have so many.
They had some hits, man. They had some hits.
Walter Scott, peace, my brother. Just peace. Now, we have. We're just going to talk a little bit. We're just going to do one of them tonight. We're going to mention the CIAA Women's Basketball Tournament along with the men is coming up this month, February 24th through March 1st in Baltimore. And we're going to go through those scores in a second. And then there's the SIAC, which is going down in the Craig Center. It's going down in the Convocation Center, March 4th to 7th in Clayton County in Georgia. And so that's the SIC, the CIAA. That's both Division II schools, okay? And then we're also going to have the NAIA tournament, and we're going to get into that a little bit more, what it's going to be. But March Madness is upon us, okay? So that's it. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to go over to some of those places, placements, okay? Here we go. Welcome back. Dr. Clint Burton Friends, featuring the absolute very best in all women's sports, HBCU athletics, and so much more. It's Dr. Clint Burton Friends Sports Talk this Tuesday evening and every Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central. You can also look us up on our website, cliftonbutts.podbean.com. Dr. Kemp, before you give us those scores, I want to mention to our listening audience and to our team. I talked with Terry Williams this morning, one of our founders of the show. She's a scientist, as we know, and she has her own company. And we wish her well because today she had a meeting. I don't know if it's for funding or not, with billionaire Mr. Robert Smith. You want to say Terry Williams? Yeah, congratulations on getting there. You're pushing the company that she's going to be on next week or two to talk to us about March Madness. The CEO, Terry Williams. Dr. Kemp, Steve, now that's pretty good, huh?
Say what?
That's pretty good.
Lord, yeah.
Dr. Kemp, here we go. What's going on in the women's division, CIAA basketball? Let's get the conference standings. Things are getting close. What do you have for us?
All right, here we go. CIAA women's basketball standings in the Northern Division. We have Virginia State, 11-3. Bowie State is 9-5. Virginia Union is 8-6. Bluefield State is 7-7. Elizabeth City State is 1-13. And rounding up the bottom is Lincoln out of Pennsylvania is 0-10. In the Southern Division, we have Winston-Salem State is 13-1. Fayetteville State is 12-2. Claflin is 8-5. Livingstone is 5-8. Shaw is 5-9, and Johnson C. Smith is rounding up the bottom with 4-11.
All righty. What's Salem State's one about 11 games in a row? They're on the roll right now. Okay, Dr. Kemp. What do we have? SIAC?
Sure. For the SIAC women's basketball standings in the East Division, we have Edward Waters, which is overall record of 19-3. I'm sorry, conference record is 19-3. Clark Atlanta is 16-5. Allen is 13-7. Benedict is 14-8. Albany State is 13-9. Savannah State is 6-15. And Fort Valley State is 5-17. In the West Division, we have Miles College, 19. Lane College, 15-5. Tuskegee is 11-11. Kentucky State is 8-15. Spring Hill is 5-16. Central State is 5-20. And Lemoyne On is rounding up the bottom and 2-18.
All righty. Give it up. SIAC. Yeah, they did. And they have a wanting by the end of this month begin to look to the conference tournament to see who goes on to the nationals. Now, every year we like to cover all the divisions, NAIA, Division Two, and Division Three, because they all are hooping. So let's look at Division Three, because they get going first. Okay, in Division Three, the number one team in the country is NYU, New York University. They're 22-0. And by the way, Steve, they are the defending champions, undefeated last year, and they were undefeated the year before.
What, they won like 53 straight or something?
More than that. It's about 60 or 70 game winning streak. So the ladies of NYU are looking to 3 years in a row undefeated. So there's other people out here winning, like Coach Gino Ariema. The ladies of NYU, Coach Briggs, I think is his name, okay? So their tournament gets underway very soon, and they'll announce their fields of 64 online on March the 3rd. Their championship ends March 19th to the 21st, and that's at the Crane Center in Salem, Virginia. Let me tell you something. Get online and watch that tournament. And man, you're going to pick the balls in Division 3. Now, the WNBA, and I want to take our time and talk about this a little bit tonight. First, let's talk about let's go Unrivaled League. They just finished their one-on-one tournament of mid-season, and this year the champion is Chelsea Gray from Las Vegas. Yeah, she took them over. She took our page back. Yeah, Chelsea kind of when she plays for Vegas was the show. Gets Jackie Young involved, Agent Wilson involved, but earlier in her career, she can also take the game over. And I think when she gets in that unrivaled 3-on-3, Chelsea goes back to her one-on-one game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah,
and made $250,000 for that.
It's 250 to the loser. So yeah, the loser, the runner-up was Alicia Gray from Atlanta, the lefty, who's a tremendous basketball player herself. And Alicia Gray knocked out Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah. She knocked her out in the semifinals. And and Chelsea knocked out Paige. Paige was upset. That's the way it goes. Listen, in this finals, it was the best 2 out of 3, and Gray won the first game, set, and then Chelsea came back on the second, and then Gray had her down like
Uh-huh.
7, and then Chelsea came back and took her out. So hey,
7-6.
200,000,
Very good.
100,000 to loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, what and Jeff wants to jump in on this. And she hadn't played all year, but Angel Reese has signed up with a team, so she's going to be finishing the season in the Unrivaled League. I guess she says she got to get back in shape. Give us your thoughts, Jeff. Or do you think Reese should be in there working on her game the whole time?
Was she out because she was injured, or she was just?
Taking time off.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of just jump in and be a top notch. You gotta play a little bit, work a little bit, and then we'll see what we have. But I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't know who that game's for. Is that game for guards? It's a game for forwards. You know what I mean? 1-on-1 is a different thing than 5-on-5. So you got to do pretty much everything. You got to have all the skills in 1-on-1. That's why I'm trying to figure out what is this doing for the league, because
the Unrivaled League plays actually 3-on-3 full court in a smaller court. Am I right, Steve?
Yeah.
But you got to work on your skills in too. You can't hide. As Steve, we know your father used to teach us. You can't hide in 3-on-3.
And had 3-on-3.
Yeah.
You can
what I
play.
mean.
You
What's
can't
Reese
play.
going to
You
do?
will be exposed.
And so is Reese going to handle the ball?
I don't know. She has to some in 3-on-3, I'm sure.
Yeah, she need to get in shape. She need to get in shape.
And that's the kind of league to work on your skills. What do you think, Dr. Kim?
I totally agree. She can definitely just come back in and and get herself ready, for the hopefully, when the league comes back and start playing again. What I liked about the Unrivaled, this 3-on-3 and then the 1-on-1 is, some of the players that were actually still playing, and even like with Kelsey Plum and Aaliyah Boston, although they lost, they still came out with some money, as well as being semifinalists. So
True.
I did like that at least the first 4 players that made it, was able to was, awarded some monetary awards, to help them out on the off season. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Kim. Now, speaking of the WNBA and the Women's National Players Association, it's getting late. And I was reading up on this collective bargaining agreement that they're saying it's a possibility, stronger than not now, that there could be a strike in this season. Don't go on. Let me tell you another indicator that they're saying Brianna Stewart just signed with a team from Turkey, and that team's season begins a few weeks before what would have been the beginning of the WNBA season. So people are saying that it may not happen, and it may end up being a strike. And boy, I think that'll be horrible for the momentum. But they say both sides are still far apart. Jeff, your thoughts, Steve, I want to get everybody in on this. Jeff,
So she signed a deal, so she not waiting.
as she's an insider, she knows what's going on.
It is. Yeah, that's not a good look right there.
No,
I'm
Steve,
trying to figure that out, but no, that's not a good look.
Jeff's right. That's not a good look.
I'm reading.
Am I wrong, Steve? I mean,
No, you're right.
you go ahead and make a move and say, "No, I'm not. I'm not even gonna play. But let me get my money now." Wow. I don't know, Cliff. I don't know, man.
It's like we say, he had a rain factor. It's getting cloudy. 90% of the players are free agents. Okay, so
Wow.
a lot of them can make these kind of moves. This next month or two is going to be interesting to say it at a minimum. At a minimum, but they're falling apart. Nobody's budget. Nobody's budget.
Well, now that somebody, if one or two actually go ahead and do the same thing, sign somewhere else, they might panic and say, "You know what? Let me get this deal done because we're gonna lose all these players."
Yeah.
We'll know soon, Jeff, in the next month, because the draft's supposed to be in April, and we got 2 expansion teams that they need to have that draft first to bring the expansion teams on before the
Yeah.
national draft. So it's getting late. That's all I'm saying. It's getting late.
You got their poker face on.
We'll stay on top of this. Listen, we have a sad story. Here we go again. North Carolina State, Morgan State was supposed to play a game this past Saturday evening. Basketball, of course, postponed because last Thursday night on the campus, there was a shooting of a couple of students. I believe it was in a dormitory. 2 of the people who were killed were not from the school. One was, or at least injured, One was killed from the school. I don't have any more details of it, but just here we go again. I thought this ended with football season and homecomings, but I guess not. Steve, huh?
It's just extremely sad that goes on. And like you said, it was in the dorm.
Yeah.
You know, we had that happen down here at TSU a few years ago. And that's it's disheartening. You send your kids to school and you think that they're automatically safe, but you know, it's just nowhere that is safe. You just have to pray and put it in God's hands and keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, well, let's just continue to pray. You know, we got all these tournaments coming up, right? Big gatherings coming up. And let's just pray for the CIAA and the SIAC and the
Mhm.
HBCU tournament. And hey, our white conferences too. It could happen anywhere, right? But these
Exactly.
big gatherings coming up in March and where this world's going. Well, we'll just continue to pray for that. Listen, I want to discuss something before we get to your segment, Steve. FAMU, the Rattlers, had a big incident that the law students or a law student was told she could not put black on anything during Black History Month because of the DEI rule. And and FAMU is a state school, so that spread. Later on, it was recanted. But just the fact that we are at this point now, because this law student spoke up. How is it you're at an HBCU, but you can't put black on anything during Black History Month? Besides, nigga, I don't know. Say what's first.
You know, they're just trying to go back. They just keep trying to go back with their scary selves. You know, it was a senator. I think it was a senator. I think he was maybe Asian in California that said something that I've been saying a long time. I'm not going to repeat it, but he's right. If it could be done, it could, but you'd have to get people together. But man, this is ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. I want to bring something else up, and Jeff, we only have a minute, but I gotta bring this up. Let's pay attention very closely. The Trump administration is trying to push the SAVE Act through right now. It already passed Congress. They don't think it'll be enough to get through the Senate. He's saying that even if they don't pass the Senate, he's going to give an executive order. What does it say that? It is saying that in order to vote, you must have a passport in addition to an ID. That creates
He
a lot
needs
of
to stop it.
no, no.
He needs to
This is
stop.
before
Mhm.
the Senate right now, and I hope that the senators they need a 60% so they can block it. But if the Democrats don't cave in, and then the war is going to come, that he's saying he's going to make an executive order even if the Senate doesn't get it approved. But this is a serious matter. Jeff, give us your thoughts on it before we come to you, Steve.
Yeah,
Jeff,
that is correct. And so time is of the essence right now because most of these things are going to take a long time. To get a passport, you can't just walk in next day and come home with a passport. It's going to take some time. And so it minimizes those who will be able to go out and vote, which they are trying to decrease the numbers. They're doing everything they can to decrease the numbers. And then they're trying to cut out the mail-in vote too as well.
Yep.
If they do that, folk are going to come out and then you'll see the ICE agents and so forth giving our folk a hard time on the lines, which also minimizes the numbers. They got a game plan. They playing chess, Cliff. They playing.
Yeah, let's keep our messages open. We'll go to commercial. We're coming right back to you, Steve. Welcome back. Dr. Clifford and Friends, featuring the absolute very best in women's sports, HBCU athletics, and so much more. You're living with diabetes or at risk. You're not being stuck in a cycle of attempts to achieve better health. You said yes, Under Life LLC may be able to help you. One size doesn't fit all, but using effective strategies empowers you to reach your goals. Try something new. Break the cycle. That's abundant-life-llc.com. Dr. Rashay Freeman, 615-212-8499. Steve, catch us up, man. Where we at?
Now, Cliff, do you want me to go with the basketball? Or did you want me to answer that last question from that segment?
Go ahead. Answer the question and then go with basketball today. All right.
I'm trying to think of a way I can say something that keeps us on the air and
Please do that.
does not incite anything.
Keep us
But
on.
let me tell you something. All these Republicans who claim to be Christians, that's the ones you have to be aware of. Be aware of because there is no God in them. None. There is no God in them. Do they actually think God wants them to be doing what they're doing to people? I mean, there is no God in them.
But
And
Steve,
when
they believe what they're doing is correct. So you have to, you have to see it from their perspective as well. But that is what they believe. But I totally understand where you're coming from and agree. But they believe that what they're doing is correct.
yeah, something can be done, but let's try to stay on the air.
All right, let's go to basketball, baby. All right. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go with the men's basketball. Let's go with the MEAC first. Howard University is in first place with a 6-3 conference record. Morgan State is tied with 6-3, and North Carolina Central is tied at 6-3. Then you had Norfolk State at 6-4, South Carolina State at 4-4, Maryland Eastern Shore at 4-6, Upton State at 4-6, and Delaware State is 1-8.
All right,
And
yeah.
that's the Mia. And there's only one team. Howard is the only one that has the overall winning record.
We'll talk about the tournament more in a few weeks.
And going over to the SWAC, you have Bethune-Cookman in first place at 10-3, Arkansas Pine Bluff in second place at 8-4. Southern is in third place at 8-5. They got a kid there named Jacobs that can really play. Texas State is 8-5. They have a kid there named Ruffin who can really play. Alabama A&M is in fourth place at 7-5. Florida A&M is in fifth place at 7-6. Texas Southern is 7-6. Alabama State 6-7. Grambling 5-7. Prairie View A&M 5-8. Alcorn State 5-8. And Mississippi Valley is 0-12. They have a kid there that's one of the top scorers in the nation. Michael, I can't think of his last name, but I've seen him play. He can really play. Bethune-Cookman is in first place, but they've actually lost 2 in a row, which surprised me because they started off shaky, but they got Theus down there, so he'll pull them together, and I expect they'll win that conference.
Coach Ricky Kiss,
UNLV, the Running Rebels. Division I, Michigan is in first place at 24-1. Houston right now is in second place at 23-2, but they lost last night.
Yeah.
Iowa State. Duke is in third place at 23-2. They just they beat Syracuse like they stole something. Hey, I'm telling you what though, for Adrian Autry, that was a job loser right there. Fourth place Arizona at 23-2. Fifth place UConn at 24-2. Iowa State 22-3 to beat Houston last night. Purdue is 21-4 in seventh. Kansas is 19-6 in eighth place. Nebraska is 22-3 in ninth place. Illinois is 21-5 in 10th place. And Boswell, the point guard, just returned from injury. So there's a lot going on. If you look at this top 10, I see out of the top 10, I see 6 that are legitimate.
Yeah.
Out of the top 10.
I think Duke goes to the Final Four and makes a run this year, Steve.
I think they do too, but I tell you what.
Yeah.
All of these teams have flaws, but I think Duke and Michigan can make up for the flaws, but Duke better get Dame Sarr involved in that offense. Houston better start using basketballs in practice because there is no skill development going on at Houston. You got a Derrick Rose clone at point guard, Kingston Flemings, and you can tell what goes on in practice. Arizona's living a lie.
Yeah, let me ask you about this team. Who do you have college play to give, Boozer or the kid from BYU? That's why I have one of those two.
But Devon's for BYU.
Okay.
Hands down.
All right.
Hands down. He's a pro.
Okay.
He's a pro. And if you go back, they had a brawl, the St. John's Providence game, and did that hard foul on the Hopkins kid who played the Providence, and it was bench clearing. I don't think anybody at St. John's had been suspended because it was right by their bench. Talk about leaving the bench. Kansas State fired Jerome Tang with cause. So they're trying not to pay him the $18.6 million that is still owed to him. So they fired him. He had a press conference after the game, and I think he was real critical of his players. And I think that really got the ball rolling. But if I was Tang, hey, ain't nothing wrong with my Tang. Hey, y'all better give me my money. Give me my money. Now, in Division I leaders, we just talked about this kid scoring. AJ DeBansa is in first place at 24.4. PJ Haggerty at Kansas State, who we just talked about, is 23.3 in second. The Riley kid at East Carolina, left-handed kid, he can play. He's 23.0. Then you've got Cameron Boozer, 22.8 in fourth place. And then you got a kid, the Okori kid, Fusa, I think it's a Fusa, Okori at Stanford. He's a lead guard, and man, he can play. And he's just a freshman. And he can play 22.5 a game. Jeremy Fears at Michigan State at 9.2, which is incredible because nobody on that team can shoot. Brandon Smith is second at Purdue at 8.9. Christian Anderson at Texas Tech is 7.7. Watch for Christian Anderson in these last few weeks of the season leading up to the tournament. He's going to just go crazy, I believe. Then you have a Dinker kid at Northern Colorado, 7.4, and the Davis kid at Cal State University Northridge is 7.2. Rebounding, Gillespie at Kent State, 11.9. Neely at North Carolina Greensboro, 11. At Florida, Rubin, 11.8. Micah Ajay, who's only 6'7", at 11.3 in fourth place, and is tied for fourth place with a kid I call the baby joker, Haynes Steinbeck at Washington, 11.3. I call him the baby joker. He plays a little bit like the Joker. But I don't know if you all also know that Musa Diabate was declared ineligible after playing with Alabama. I don't know. I think the NCAA may just squash it and not have them forfeit, but I don't know because you've got conference games. They won, I think 3 of the 5 he played in. So that's going to be a sticky situation now.
Yeah. 5 minutes left. I'll talk a little about the NBA weekend, the 3-point champion shooters and all that, and then a little bit about Chris Paul before we get out of here.
NBA weekend, well, I'll get to the 3-point shooting contest. Dame Lillard is out nursing his out nursing his Achilles won it. And Kashad Johnson, who plays with the Miami Heat, won the dunk contest. Kashad Johnson had played at Kansas State. He transferred to Florida, and during the COVID time, he collapsed on the floor at Florida State. And I'm telling you, his heart stopped. That's why they rushed him off of that floor, because they wanted to get him in that tunnel to use that AED machine. They didn't want to scare anybody because he was gone. And they saved his life. He won the 3-point shooting contest. The Young Guns, led by MVP Anthony Edwards, won the All-Star game. It was a great All-Star game. Victor Wembanyama got down. Edwards, and then Kawhi Leonard just, his Dr. J act scored like 21 points. And then they played the last game. He couldn't breathe. They were tired.
I said the same thing, Steve. I was like, what is going
Marlo,
on?
they were gasping, Marlo. They were gasping. Like, them young boys, those young boys can have it. And, of course, Chris Paul, I think he did the right thing. He's had a great career.
Yes, he has. Killing it. Where would he sit, Steve? Where would he sit between Isaiah Thomas? I understand. Where does he fit as far as small point guards of all time in that first 5? Where does he fit?
At the start, and I'm going like 6'1" and under.
Okay.
So I go with Isaiah Thomas.
Okay.
I go with AI really only played point guard his first year in Philly, but I still had to put him. I had to put him there. Then you got Chris Paul. You've got Kevin Johnson, who's getting ready to go into the Hall of Fame. Trying to think who else.
You got to put Tiny in there. Come on.
You have to put Tiny. You have to put Tiny in there. He's the only one that led the league in scoring and assists one year.
Yeah. Can't forget
And like Dr. J said, Tiny was one of the best he'd ever seen, Jeff. I'm glad you mentioned him. You have to put Tiny in there, Nate Tiny Archibald. He was a special player, man.
Yep.
He was a special
Mhm.
player. So,
Mhm.
hey, hats off to Chris Paul being
Yep.
these guys. They talk about he never won a championship. It's a team sport. It's a team
Yeah.
sport. And he was a
Yeah.
dominant point guard.
You know,
Do you all remember
go ahead.
Johnson? You remember when he jumped on the team in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe that. But he's up
Yeah.
for the Hall of Fame. I think you said, MC, we got players, Blake Griffin, Amari Stoudemire, Kevin Johnson, Buck Williams. They're going in. And then you got coaches and contributors going in, but they've got Candace Parker
Come on now.
going in as a contributor.
All right.
Well, she was a dominant player.
Maybe we got to get out of here. Thank you so much. Great segment that we were looking forward to having Cherry with us in one of the next few weeks on the show. We'll have Jim back with us as well. And great show tonight. We will see everybody. Jim will on Bullseye Sports. That's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday night, I believe, on WGPR. And we will see everybody back in 168 hours from now. Thanks so much, everybody.
Happy birthday, Cliff. Happy birthday. God bless everybody. Be safe. Love and wonder.